A little while ago on the last day off I can remember having, we went to visit the Vancouver Museum of Anthropology with our friend Clarence. We got right into seeing all the amazing art and objects.
Each of these house boards is carved from a single plank of red cedar. The animals are fishers, carnivorous mammals with strong spiritual meaning for Coast Salish peoples. Located inside the house, these boards displayed family knowledge and provided protection to the residents. Large steam bent chests stored and still store tangible treasures such as masks, coffers, and dance robes for safekeeping. This is clay that was sourced from highway construction near Quesnel.
Dotted with whimsical indigenous and other artifacts, this area led to a massive gallery of colonial European and some Asian pottery. It really went on.
This is a ceramic tile stove that originated in the Alps that was sort of built into the mortar and the foundation and operated by servants on the other side of it while people gathered around it and enjoyed the artwork and stayed warm. Northwest Coast artists historically made paints using earth pigments from their home territories and obtained through trade. These ground pigments were mixed with a binder like fish eggs or oils to make paint. So these are examples of steam bent wood containers using steamed wood, where they were kind of par cut, folded and steamed and bent together with the last edge being sewn or bolted. This Haida Gwaii bent wood bowl or box features two killer whales wrapped around four sides of the feast bowl with their snouts meeting together. This is a slightly more contemporary harbor canoe made in 1978, but it is based on a refined version of the classic design. Incredible handiwork. I can't help but reflect that all the art, even in its intricacy and incredible time and talent, still feels like a natural part of the landscape. It just has that all fused into it. The artistic vision seems to flow so beautifully with the outside. Originally forming the ceremonial entrance to the big house, this pole features a supernatural bird whose extraordinary beak was once supported by the carvings of a grizzly bear at the bottom, and above that a man with a hat and beard, his hands in his pockets, like this picture depicts. This is the Raven of the Sea pole that was commissioned to stand in front of John Drabble's house in Alert Bay. It was raised in 1912, a time when potlatches were still banned by Canadian law. This is Cedar Man by Joe David. This was completed in 1984, and it features a frog motif because of this frog that jumped onto the unfinished Cedar Man. These are carved posts and figures that stood inside Gukswidi, or a big house, built in Katsino Sound, northern Vancouver Island. Tupanan Chiskama means until life brings us together again in Quechua, an indigenous language of the Andes.
This exhibit was really interesting. A variety of ancient objects with complementary newer forms of media and some interactive pieces too.
This is a bear sculpture by Bill Reed, completed in 1963 in red cedar with traditional paint. Oh, you're allowed to touch this one. It uses kind of the burl of the wood or the going against the wood grain to create the fur-like textures. These cedar woven baskets, bowls, and containers. I don't know if this is capturing it, but they're impossibly detailed. Woven wet around a form. Just incredible. Yeah. Fibers as thin as threads.
It's a wonder we're still here. colonized us, and then they forced us to change over from our way into their way. And so they banned everything, like the ceremonies, the Indian ceremonies, everything we did became outlawed. We're heathens and savages and everything. And yet I always thought we're very peaceful, calm people. And we lived by the rules of the elders that laid the rules down. For centuries they ruled.
The regalia of the Northwest Coast chiefs and matriarch includes such items as carved headdresses, speaker staffs, and woven finery. These are often made by the most gifted artists, who would be commissioned to create powerful symbols of rank and governance for display before witnesses in ceremony.
Hazel Wilson, who is a relative of our friend Clarence, has a very wide display of her robes and blankets here, which have an incredible mix of found materials in the arts and crafts tradition.
Across several of these robes, Hazel Wilson reveals her ancestors as having the prescience of the impending conflict over Haida lands, waters, and what a capital system deems as resources. We see these ancestors concealing oil, their gold, and alongside other indigenous nations, even their magic. This one is depicting a clear cut. Depicts the devastation of the smallpox epidemics in the 1800s. One of them depicts the ancestors caring for a sick European only to contract the deadly disease as a result. Hazel Wilson has an unmistakable reverence for her ancestors and the knowledge she has inherited from them. They said, always listen to what you were told because they learned through trial and error, and telling you makes it easier for you in your life. So these ones depict the follies of young men. One man travels to Mexico and attempts to stage a bullfight when he arrives back home. Another ignores warnings, paying the ultimate price for his greed. She shares these hard-earned lessons with the viewer, but it is for the viewer to decide what to do with them.
The absolute jewel of this entire museum is a large Bill Reed carving called Raven and the First Men.
This is an epic Bill Reed classic, depicting the time that a raven heard some rattling around in a shell, plopped down and discovered the first men. And subsequently the raven had to teach these men how to live. I can see why you like it.
This piece is stunning, and it has complementary pieces in gold and argillite all around it that feature master carver Bill Reed's globally renowned work.
There's one that's 100 feet long.
This is sort of like an auxiliary gallery where there are literal thousands and thousands and thousands of objects. There's no way to show you everything, so just come here and see it for yourself. Admission is $26 for adults, $13 for kids, and free for any Indigenous persons. There are also a great deal of handicrafts from lots of other nations and regions. Incredible, unending, overwhelming amounts. Gotta take a couple visits, I think.
Like buildings and stuff. There's a parking lot back here.
Cream or something? Or
Yeah, they gave me some.
beta comethazone or something?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah.
That works for me.
You used to have a pit here.
The Museum of Anthropology sits on a beautiful site, and the surrounding area's design also helps one to imagine how many of the objects and dwellings were before the invasions of colonial powers. Plus a bonus sighting of
Ducks in their little duck butts.
Thanks to Clarence for giving us the impetus to see the museum. For Vegan Everywhere, I'm David.